Oleksandra Matvichuk, welcome to the program.
Thank you for the invitation.
Can I just start by asking you about today? You're in Ukraine. You have seen another wave of missiles and drones attacking civilian structures in Zaporizhia and in the Kyiv region. What can you tell us about this, and what does it mean in the broader human rights picture?
When we speak about general human feeling, it means that we live in total uncertainty. We can't know whether the next year alarm started or when internet will disappear. And when we speak about our professional point of view, it's the next war crimes which was committed by Russians, which we have to document.
And how are you getting on with documenting? Because you've been doing it in real time, along with other organizations inside and outside Ukraine. How is the documentation going?
When large-scale invasion started, we united our efforts with dozens of regional organizations, and we built all Ukrainian network of local documentators. And that is why we are able to send local documentators for the place of crime when something happened, and they made their own photos and videos, speak with people, collect testimonies, etc.
And the government, your government today said that these latest attacks are deliberate attacks against civilians. So that is a war crime, obviously. And I wonder how you get your documenting teams to the places that are under attack.
It depends whether the crime is committed, because Russian troops deliberately shell in residential buildings, schools, churches, hospitals, attack evacuation corridors, manage filtration camp systems, organize forcible deportations, and commit murders, tortures, rapes, abductions in the occupied territories. So when we speak about controlled part by Ukrainian government, which is far from the battle zone, it's easier for us to send people to work on the ground. But when we speak about documentation on the occupied territories, it's a very difficult job, because these people who collect information there can be subjected to illegal detention and torture.
And also, Oleksandra, I've heard that, you know, even those committing the crimes, much less the victims in the occupied regions, maybe many of them are dead by now. Do you consider that a problem in terms of accountability in the future?
It's a huge problem that I am, as a Ukrainian human rights defender, who have been applying the law for many years to protect people and human dignity, for current moment have no legal tools how to protect people in the occupied territories. And people there live in gray zone. They have no chance to protect their rights, their freedom, their property, their lives, and their beloved ones. This means that occupation is not alternative to the war. It's just another form of this war.
Mm-hmm. You know, we've heard the most terrible stories about children, the attack on children, the forcible deportation of children, the kidnap of children, the indoctrination of children, the forced adoptions of children over in Russia. And as you know, the ICC has issued a warrant for the arrest of Vladimir Putin and his so-called Commissioner for Children's Affairs. And her name is Maria Lvova-Belova. Do you see this as a good first step? How do you react to the ICC arrest warrant?
I welcomed this arrest warrant because it's a historical decision. It's first in the history when International Criminal Court issued arrest warrant from the current head of the state, which is the member of Security Council of UN and the state which has a huge nuclear potential. This means that International Criminal Court emphasized once again that we have to live in a world where rule of law dictates rules, not brutal force.
So I want to play a soundbite of, it was last month when this woman, Maria Lvova-Belova, was talking to Vladimir Putin in the Kremlin about this abduction, although she didn't call it that, and it was about her adopting a child from Mariupol. Listen to this.
Did you adopt a child from Mariupol yourself?
Yes, thanks to you. 15 years old. Now I know what it means to be a mother of a child from Donbas. It's difficult, but we definitely love each other.
What do you feel? I just want to know your feeling when you first saw that.
Like, it's a very sensitive topic for me and for Ukrainians because it's children, and this is Ukrainian children who are forcibly re-educated as Russians. And in the press release, International Criminal Court qualified this action as a war crime. But I do believe that we have to prove that it's much more bigger. It's a component of genocidal policy which Russia imposed against Ukraine.
Okay, that's a really huge crime. As you know, it's the highest crime under international law, genocide. Tell me, what legal route do you see from those abductions to actual genocide? Why do you call it that?
When we state that this war has genocidal character, we not just rely upon the statement of Putin and his surrounding that Ukraine has no right to exist, there is no Ukrainian nation, there is no Ukrainian culture, there is no Ukrainian language, but also on actual activities which Russians committed in Ukraine. It's very visible in occupied territories how they forcibly change identity of people. They prohibit Ukrainian language. They try to persecute, not try, but persecute people who express Ukrainian identity. And in this regard, when we speak that Ukrainian children are forcibly re-educated as Russians, it's a component of this policy. Because when we have this genocidal intent to destroy it completely or partially, some ethnic group, there is no obligation just to kill all members of this group. You can just forcibly change the identity of members of the group, and the whole group will disappear.
Alexandra, I want to ask you a personal question. As a woman, as a human rights activist, trying to pursue now the most intense cases of your life and your career, I assume, women are hugely implicated and are victims as well as children in this war that's been foisted on your country. What are your personal reflections and feelings at this moment in this war?
I have two main feelings. First, I must be very honored that I am working in human rights field for 20 years, and 9 of them I have been documenting war crimes. I personally interviewed hundreds of people who survived Russian captivity, and they told me horrible stories, how they were beaten, raped, how their fingers were cut, how they were tortured with electricity and other kinds of horrible details. But even I, with all my experience and background, wasn't prepared for such level of atrocity, because Russia uses war crimes as the methods of warfare, and Russia attempts to break people's resistance and occupy Ukraine by inflicting the immense pain on millions of people. But second, my feelings, it's a feeling of love, because when large-scale invasion started, it's resulted in a huge wave of solidarity among people in Ukraine. And we become witness how ordinary people started to do extraordinary things. And when international organizations evacuated their personnel, ordinary people remained and started to do their work. They broke encirclement to provide humanitarian aid. They helped people to survive under artillery's fire. They rescued people who trapped into the rubbles of residential buildings, etc., etc. And now I think that we, like never before, have this very sharp feeling. What does it mean to be a human being?
Amazing. Alexandra Matviichuk, thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.